Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this triple row wrap bracelet. So the technique and the stitch for making this bracelet is actually done with a loom. What it is we're going to tie our strings to this nail here, and then you would tighten it up by turning this and tightening your knot. And we're going to run our cords over the top, and then we're going to tie our other end here. And the purpose of this is it keeps our cords taut so we can weave our beads back and forth through the bracelet. Now, this here loom is more for doing 11-aught beads and stuff with stitching. So I went and made my own loom that is more for making this type of bracelet, more customized for what I want. Because when you make this bracelet, you're working so close to the button area here, you can't really attach it to here. So I had a safety pin that I was attaching it to so I can start weaving here. So I figured that maybe I should make something that would work better. So this is what I made. I have this board here and I have this little hook and I slip on my bracelet. I have a loop here and I slip that over it. And I run my cords across, and my cords are longer, but I trimmed them, of course, and I tie it to this nail. And then I work along the board, weaving back and forth. So these looms, I actually got this one at a thrift store, but I think they run around $20. So if you want to save money and you don't want to buy them, or you can't make them, you can make your own, just like I did. And it's more, I think it's better for making this bracelet, because like I said, I had a problem with that. And this here area is a lot shorter compared to here. You can actually make the whole bracelet without adjusting it on this one. So you're going to need to figure out a way to make this bracelet by either making a loom, or maybe you already have one. If you don't have one, then maybe try to think of another way. The most important thing to remember is that your cords need to be nice and straight and taut. Because if they're not, when you're weaving across, these cords won't stay straight and your bracelet will end up all messed up. So if you could maybe put a safety pin on your button and maybe tie it down to your comforter on your bed maybe, and then tie the ends to another safety pin and put that on your comforter as well, attach it to your comforter, so this is taut so you can work on it. So you're going to need a system like this to make the bracelet. So to get this bracelet to fit your wrist correctly, I figured that my clasp, being this area, where Macrame Knots to the button, in this area, is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, depending on how large of a button you're going to use. So I wanted an 8-inch bracelet because I want my bracelet to be loose so I can stack more bracelets with it. So I figured that this beaded section here needs to be about 6 inches long. So see, that's about 6 inches long right there, and then plus that is 8 inches. So that's how I got an 8-inch bracelet. So if you're going to want a 7-inch bracelet, then I believe that this area here needs to be about 5.5 inches to make a 7.5-inch bracelet. And if you want it smaller, then you're just going to have to subtract. So that's how you get the size that you need to fit your wrist. Another important thing to know when making this bracelet, when you go to select your beads, you need to select beads that you're using on the inside and outside. They need to be the same width. And what I mean by that is my hole through my bead goes in this direction. There's my hole and it goes all the way through. And this is the length of my bead. This is how long it is. And this is the width on the sides. So this bead here that I'm going to be using on the sides is the same width. When I put them together, they're the same width. So, like in this bracelet, my rectangular beads here, the holes are going this way, they are the same width as these 6-aught beads. So that's how it worked so good in this bracelet. If you use beads that are not the same width, you'll have gaps on the side of your bracelet, and it will look terrible, and your beads won't stack well, and it won't look professional at all. So that's another important tip, that your width of your beads need to be the same. Same on the sides. These are the tools that you're going to need to make this bracelet. If I leave anything out at all, on things that I have to tell you about the sizing or whatever, how much you're going to need. It's all going to be in the info box below. If I ever forget something, I always put it down there. So you're going to need a loom, like I said, or try to figure out a way to make your cords nice and straight and tight so you can weave back and forth. You're going to need a ruler so you can get your bracelet this right length to fit your wrist. You're going to need scissors to cut your thread and your cord, and you're going to need clear nail polish. There are glues that you can use for stuff like this, but I've used them and I actually prefer clear nail polish for the knots because I feel like it's so thin and it really absorbs into the cord and it's permanent and it does not ever disappear. It stays in the knot and the knot never opens, and I find it to be the best so far. The materials you're going to need to make this are beads, of course, and remember the thing I said about the width. The beads that you use in the center of the bracelet and on the edge of the bracelet need to be the same width to get this to work properly. You're going to need 2 pieces of 28 to 30 inches of cord. I'm using a cotton cord. I don't remember the size of this. My cord is actually just a tad bit shorter because it's left over from another project and I'm trying to use it up. And you're going to need a shank button. This is my button, has a rose on it. You're going to need a size 10 beading needle. That's what I have here. If you don't have size 10 beading needle, the most important thing is you just need a needle that is going to fit through your beads at least 3 times. You're going to need 7 feet of Fireline, a 6-pound test, or up to a 10-pound test. I went to go buy 6-pound test Fireline. This is the smoke. I get mine at Walmart because it's like $15, $16, and I get 125 yards for that much. I've seen it at other places where it's 50 yards and you pay almost double the price, and it's also that much because it says Beadsmith on it. Now Berkeley makes Fireline for beading and they also make it for fishing, but you can get it a lot cheaper if you buy it at a tackle place. So I got this from Walmart for like 16 bucks. I was trying to get 6-pound test. They were out, so I ended up with 10-pound test. But that's alright because it says that it's a 4-pound test diameter, and I already made it with this bracelet. In this bracelet, the blue beads actually had very small holes, and it worked just right, and I used a size 10 beading needle. So I'm going to show you how I measure my string. I don't know how y'all do it, but this is how I do it. I get my string, and I get my ruler, and I put the string at the end of my ruler, and I wrap it around my ruler, just like this. And I have 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, because I have 4 threads on this side, and then I have 3 threads on that side. So I'm just going to cut my string right here, and that's how I measure my string. So let's get started making this bracelet. Okay, so I already put my button on my cord, and I just strung it on really simple, and I brought the button to the center of my cord, and my cord ends are even, and I'm going to put the cord right here over my hook, just like that, and that's what it does. And then I'm going to come down here, make sure that my cords are nice and straight. It's hard to show this because the camera tripod's so big. I'm just going to tie right over left, like this, make these cords straight, bring them down to my screw, and pull nice and tight. Just like this. So make sure that the cords are nice and tight and they're straight. That's how you put the cord on. Now I'm going to do my macrame knots. I'm going to take my cord and put it under these 2 center cords, do right over left, put these ends together, put my fingers between these 2 cords, and bring that knot down all the way, just like that. That's what it looks like. And pull these nice and tight. And you can see here that the loop is very large for a button, so I'm going to be sliding this down. It's pretty close to the button. just like this. And you can actually side it up more, because it still looks like there's a lot of space there. Now I'm going to take and make my first square knot. I'm going to take this right cord and lay it over these two center cords. And then I'm going to take my left cord, go over the tail of my right cord, under these two center cords and out through this large loop. Pull my ends, and there's my first knot. Pull nice and tight, and then I'm going to take my left cord and lie it over my two center cords, take my right cord and go over the top of my right tail, under these two cords and out through this loop on the left side, and pull the ends up. So there is my first square knot. And now I have to do right again. So I'm going to lay my right cord over the two center, take my left over the right tail, under the two center cords and out through the loop, and pull that knot up. Now we have one more knot to tie. Over my center cords, and then take my right cord and go over my left tail under the two center cords, just like this, and pull. And I'm going to untie my cords down here, take my button off, and see how my loop is really large? I'm just going to slide this up and adjust it to where I want it to be. Right there. Perfect. And now we're going to be adding on our Fireline. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on the loom the same way that I had it. I went ahead and attached my cords the way that it was, and I just tied my other cord the same way around my nail. And now I'm going to use my Fireline. I went ahead because my thread is 7 feet long, and I took and went through about 2 feet of Fireline, so it's easier to work with. So you can see there's still 2 strings. So right here is where it stops, and then I have 2 feet that I'm going to be working with. And when I get farther along into the bracelet, when I start going to 2 threads, then I'm going to move my needle farther to the end so it's easier to work with. So I just doubled it here so it's easier to work with. And I'm not doubling the whole thing through the beads because it's so strong. So I'm going to take my string and I'm going to go through this one cord just like this, and I'm going to tie a knot. And I'm going to leave about a 10-inch tail, just an overhand knot, just like that. Pull it down. I'm going to make sure that mine is about 8 inches. Yep, right there. So pull my knot. Doesn't have to be too tight. And then I'm going to go and tie another knot. I'm going to take my string and go under. And then I'm going to go under again, just like that. Pull it down. This is a surgeon's knot. Tighten it. Not real tight. And then I'm going to do it again. Pull it down. I'll do it again. Surgeon's knot. Pull it down. Just like that. So this is my tail. We're not going to cut this tail off. When we start weaving, when we get to the very end, I'm going to put this tail and weave it through more beads. So this bracelet is going to be very durable. Now I'm going to find my needle. Here it is. And I'm going to pick up, because this is so narrow up here, I found it best to pick up maybe 6/0 seed beads in this narrow place. So in my bracelet, I have these 6/0 seed beads to fill in that narrow gap, because if you start with the larger ones, it's gonna have a gap there. You're gonna see the skin. So I'm gonna pick up 3 seed beads. I'm doing black, silver, black. Slide them down my string, just like that. And I'm gonna take my needle I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go under these cords. Try not to get caught up in anything. Just like that. And now my beads are lying underneath my cords. I'm going to take these beads with my left hand and pop them up through the bottom of my cords. So one seed bead between each cord, just like this. Press them up nice and good. I'm going to take I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to take my needle and go over the top of these seed beads and over the top of the cord. I'm not going to go through the cord, so be very careful not to go through the cord. Do the next one, and then I'm going to go to the last one, just like that, and pull my string. And then I'm going to stick my finger in the loop here, pull it, slide these up, just like this, pull it through, and then slide them up as high as I can, just like that. And now I'm going to take my needle and go under these cords. I'm going to pick up, let's slide this forward some maybe. I'm going to pick up more seed beads this time. I'm going to do black, silver, silver, and black. And now I'm making it wide enough for my pink beads to be picked up because they're so long. Slide my beads down. And then I'm going to pop them under my work. 2 seed beads are going to go between the center cords like this. And I'm going to take my needle and go over, or through the seed beads and over the cords, just like this. Do not go through the cords. Just like that. Go through my last seed bead, and then pull my string. So you see how my second cord just popped out. It's not getting caught in this. And when it starts getting caught up, I'm going to move my thread closer to the end. So, put my finger in there, slide this up, pull this loop, try to adjust it, just like that, and then pull the rest through. So there we go. And I'm going to take my needle again and go under the cords, and I'm going to pick up my little rondelle bead, my pink bead, and my blue bead. Slide them down to the bottom, just like this, and I'm going to take and pop them through with my finger, and I'm going to go through the rondelle looking bead, the pink bead, and the blue bead. Pull my cord and my thread, and my second string just popped out. Pull this loop. I'm going to slide these beads up, pull them loop very well to make sure that my beads are going to land where I need them to, just like that. I'm going to take my thread again with my needle, go under my cords, and I'm going to pick up seed beads. I'm going to do black, silver, black, silver, black. Slide them down, go underneath my cords, push them up, and go through all the seed beads, skipping over the cord. Do not go through the cord. Just like that. Pull my needle out, and then here comes my second one, so I'm fixing to have to readjust my string so my second string doesn't get caught. So just like that. Stick your finger in there, adjust it. These bracelets are really fun to make. I think I'm going to make many more. And that's why I made this loom, so I can make more. I'm going to pick up my blue, pink, blue, blue, pink, blue, slide them down, just like that. Pop them up. So you see we're getting further along, and it's actually getting easier to weave, and it's going to get much faster because our cords are separated right where they need to be. Put my finger in there, just like this. slide them up, pull through. I'm going to readjust my needle because I'm getting close. I like to do this with my needle because it is faster this way because it's shorter. So I just moved it like 8 inches down. So I'm ready again to add more beads. I'm going to go through these cords, or under the cords, and pick up more seed beads. I'm going to do black, silver, black, silver, black. Slide them down. Stretch the arm all the way across the room. Put them underneath my cords. And sew back through them. Just over the seed beads, not through the cords. Just through the seed beads. And my last one. You really have to push under with this finger to get them to go through. It makes it a lot easier. Just like that. Pull it. So it's really starting to work up, and our cords are staying nice and separated. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do my blue, pink, blue. Slide them down. My little tail's getting caught up. Wrap it around this loop. Just like this. Press these beads up and go through them. We're going over this cord, not under this cord. So I'll make sure that you know that, because our string is already under. We're going to go over, and this is how we keep these beads from falling off. Go through the blue, pink, and the blue. Put my hand in here and get it right. So you don't lose your needle. I've been putting my needle in my bead mat. I love my bead mat. I can't live without it. So I don't get poked. And I'm just going to keep going through the whole bracelet. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm under my cords again. So I'm going to pick up black, silver, black, silver, black. Slide them down. And then take my string and go through the seed beads over the top of the first cord, through these three, and through the last. Do not go through the cords. Just like that. So keep going until you get to the size of bracelet you want to make. All the measurements and stuff are listed in the bottom that you will need to make whatever size you want to make. So I'm going to keep on going until I run out of beads. Okay, so how I started my bracelet with the seed beads, I did the same thing at this end with the seed beads because it's getting narrow so we can do our macrame knots. And I kept adjusting my needle, pulling it further and further down to the tail, my tail end of my Fireline. So that's my tail that I have left. And before I tie knots with that, I'm going to do my macrame knots. I'm going to do right cord over my center cords. And then I'm going to take my left cord and go under the center and through this loop. Just like that. And pull it up. Don't pull it real tight up against these beads because the beads will start to bunch. Go over with my left cord, over the left tail, and through the bottom of the loop. Just like that. Nice and tight. And now I'm going to go right over my center and take my left and go under my right tail and up through the right loop. Pull it, adjust it, and then I'm going to go left over here, and then I'm going to go over that left tail and up through this here. Now remember, my strings are short. Remember I said that at the beginning I'm actually using shorter strings than I recommend because I'm trying to use up leftovers. So that is the rest of our square knots. It's 2 whole square knots. And now I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to weave, wrap around, and go through these 3 seed beads again. And then I'm going to weave through all these beads, tying 1/2 knots, just as you would if you're making a bracelet or whatever that I usually do in my other videos. So we're going to be going through them, and then I'm going to tie a knot here at the bottom so I can make a loop for my button. So I'm going to get this off the loom. I have my cord straightened out, and I'm going to tie a knot. I'm just going to make a loop like this, wrap it over. I'm going to push these cords up through this loop, just like that. Pull them through, and then these cords here are a little bit shorter, so if you have a tough time getting them, I'll take my pliers through, snatch them, pull the cords out, and then adjust the cords just like this. And that's my knot for that. And now for the knotting of our tail, I'm right here. I'm just going to flip over my work, go through a bead like that. Actually, I'll go through all three. Just like that. Pull it out, flip it over, go through this bead. I'll snatch up a thread, this thread right here, just like that, and I'll tie a half hitch knot around that thread. Go through my loop twice, pull it down, and pull it towards the seed bead, just like that. Or this seed bead, because we're going for that one. And then I'll go through the next seed bead. And then I'm just going to do another knot, grabbing that thread, not the cord, and going through this bead. And I'm going to flip it over and go through these, and I'm going to do knots, and I'm flip it over and go through the rest. I'm just going to go as far as I can and use up as much thread as I can to make this bracelet stronger and more durable. You're also going to have to reinforce this string and go through all the beads and tie more knots and try to use up as much of the string as you can, weaving back and forth. It really does make it so much durable. And make this knot a heck of a lot tighter. And before you make it too tight, make sure that your button goes through that. And once you get it tight enough, put clear nail polish over it to seal it. And if you want, you can do 6-aught seed beads like I did here and put knots at the end, and then I glued these knots so they're going to stay in there. So that's my bracelet, and I'm so sorry the video was so long. I tried to explain everything that I needed to let you know what you're going to come across and what you could do for ideas. So I hope that you got under all that and understand everything. And thank you everyone for subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I'm going to try to make more videos, and I'll see you next time. Happy beading!